Nervous.
Oh, I brewed this way too thick. It is mud. This is COFOH Live Undead. I am your host, Daniel Crosier, and I am joined by Noah A. Waters III and Assia Lauren. Wow!
You wave something on my face.
Oh, man. How are you guys doing?
So good. So good.
Way better now. I'm awake.
Now you're awake. Nothing like a little blood in the face, you know?
Oh, my goodness.
I was expecting.
That was an awesome intro.
No, thanks. I'm a glutton for punishment, so you know. We have fun here.
Love it. Love it.
Thanks for joining me, guys. You know, Noah, Assia, you've got an amazing project that you're working on right now. But you know, for everybody that's not familiar with who you are and what you do, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, Assia, can we start with you? Who you are, where you come from, and how you got into filmmaking?
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So, Assia, my name is Assia Lauren. I started acting professionally in 2020. I was in the Army for 6 years, moved to LA, got out of the military, and actually Noah was the first director to book me in a job for the short film Relationship Killers back in 2020. And that kind of started this bond here. And after we finished Relationship Killers, me and him talked more about like his plans for his, you know, this world that he's going to talk about later. And that it was like, what? Like, that's fire. Yes. Do you need help? How can I help? I want to help. So yeah, we became producing partners, and we've been at this now for almost 2 years. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, and I mean, aside from acting, I am producing. I'm a writer. I wrote a book of poetry, and actually just finished my second book. And yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. You know, Noah, how about yourself? You know, where do you come from, and how did you get into filmmaking?
Oh my goodness, that's a loaded question. I hope you have the time.
Oh yeah.
When I was a kid, I grew up with a lot of learning difficulties, one of which was attention deficit. And so most of my life has been spent kind of in a fantasy world, kind of, you know, just distracted from what I should be paying attention to and going and really putting effort into the creativity of what's happening in my imagination. And I never thought that it would be something I could do as a career, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know, you know, if I'd graduate from public school or anything like that, much less go on to do, anything large. But I knew as a kid, you know, I wasn't going to be able to get into film school. But if I lived a life that was, that gave me enough memories that I could put together on a memory palette, then maybe I could have enough intrinsic details to paint stories with. And so that's what I did. I hate this expression, but I set out to live a purpose-driven life, to like put myself in as many holy shit experiences as possible. And now I'm using my collection of memories as well as over a decade of line producing and stuff to put into what I really want to do, which is writing and directing. Okay. And other than writing and directing, I also do stand-up comedy, and I work in mental illness advocacy.
Oh, fantastic! Wow, man, that's amazing. It sounds like both of you live very storied lives. Seeking out, doing your passion projects, but also coming from like a military background and doing mental health advocacy. That's fantastic. Tell us a little bit about this earlier endeavor that you shot back in 2020, Relationship Killers, because that sets up the premise for this current project, right, with Lethal Ladies.
Yes. So Relationship Killers is a film that we made back in 2020. And, I hate saying it's a passion project because every project is a passion project, Right. But for me, it was definitely the culmination of learning my voice as writer-director and learning what it takes to make a film through line producing and most importantly, learning what it is I wanted to say. And honestly, I think I found that through stand-up comedy. Like, the first 5 years or so, you kind of just figure out how to say stuff, like what a setup and a punchline and a tag is. Yeah. And then I started to realize what I wanted to talk about on stage, and that really affected the screenwriting and what I wanted to say as a filmmaker. And I've always loved noir. Noir, for some reason, for me, is just my most, cynical people with cynical desires, and not necessarily being the straight up good guy and the straight up bad guy and the straight up, good woman, bad woman. Like, I love blurred lines. I love gray area, and I love the amount of subgenre that falls under noir. And so, and as a lover of subgenre, this is going to be my alley, Yeah. And so Relationship Killers, instead of being a proof of concept for like, this is what this could be as a feature film, which most filmmakers do, especially when they get to in my career. Instead, I made a film that was basically a proof of character and a proof of tone, because the tone that I'm going for with this universe of cinema, and we want to get into comics and novels and as many forms of media as possible, but the tone I'm going for is very, very unique, and could also, if you don't hit it properly, could be a huge failure. In fact, when we were cutting Relationship Killers, we got down to 2 variations that were so similar, with just a few jokes being cut from the total, and that's where it was, because ultimately we shot a suspenseful dark comedy told through a noir, and then it was too punchy, it was too much. We just had to back off a couple of the jokes, and then it landed so hard, and everyone we were working with in post and press and when we finally got that last cut, was like, holy cow, like this is what it is, And so I want to bring that into the foyer. So those characters do exist in this world. I can't go into how, but they do. It's the tone that we're going for this much larger cinematic universe of femme fatale, character-driven stories, but with every feature film being a different subgenre.
Yeah.
And then introducing more and more characters, but keeping with the same level of complexity, following the business model of Marvel, with it's the same characters that you're dealing with, but with more of the tone of DC, and bringing in elements like cultural mythology, different ways of life. How do we talk about, individuals whom have lived a life that they've never been able to see on screen? That's what I want to do. Like, how to not a social issue swing, even, and not even for me, it's not even a women's empowerment thing. It's just, I want to see interesting people tell interesting stories, and because I don't have the intelligence and the beauty of my producing partner, I needed her to present that to everyone in a much more attractive package. That's what it is for me. What about you, Assia?
How did you come to partner up with Noah? Obviously, you were cast in the first film.
Yeah. Noah's a comedian, I swear.
He did
Well,
say
no, so oh, sorry, what did you say?
he did say he does stand up.
He does do stand up, and we're seeing some of that right now.
Right.
No, so like he said, like the characters, you will see them later in the universe. And I can't get too deep into who they are and what they're going to be doing later. But I think what drew me to working with Noah for I guess the rest of our lives, is exactly what he said and how he wants to tell stories, and not, as a Black woman in this industry, whether it's casting, whether it's agents and managers or other directors and writers, they tell you things like, oh, we want to tell Black stories. We want to see, we want to tell the Black struggle story. Or we want to see, if it's a story with a Black actor in it, it has to be about them being Black. And I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm more than just a Black woman. We don't have to just tell stories about me that have to do with my skin tone. And that goes for any demographic, right? Where you see, people from the LGBTQ community, their movies don't have to be about them coming out. Their movies don't have to be about their struggle. Their movies could be about them enjoying life, but the industry is trying to catch up to that. And Noah's, light years ahead of them, because he does see people as people. It's not about the external qualities that you see. It's about who they are on the inside. And so getting to work with him and getting to tell these, fun, dark, kind of scary, kind of weird, kind of like unexpected stories, even love stories. You just see people, and they just happen to be, one of the things, whether they're gay or Black or Native American or Mexican American, or what I mean. So that's the exciting part.
Right. That's fantastic. Kind of having that perspective. And putting all these different demographics at the forefront, but telling universal stories that everybody can relate to.
Absolutely.
No, that sounds pretty awesome. The fact that this is an intersecting interconnecting universe. Of course, everybody goes to Marvel Studios, but you also have other filmmakers, like somebody like Quentin Tarantino, where that connects a lot of his threads and characters throughout his movies, and even such things as props or artifacts and stuff like that, like the brand of cigarettes is really well known throughout his films. But occasionally you'll have connecting themes and story threads, through like some Peckinpah films. And
yes, Peckinpah is a huge inspiration for me in this universe, especially with use of violence, and gore. Like I want to combine my hatred for narrow-mindedness and other aspects of humanity with violence and with gore, and show what it's like physically, in a way that's like metaphorical, but like also, no, like this is what happens when, when things of this nature happen. For example, the first film, Deceit, is my hate letter towards narcissistic personality disorder, but specifically when it's manifested in introverted, insecure, toxic masculinity. So we see quite often the character of one, the soldier who has PTSD and loses his mind, and because he was bullied so much when he was a kid. We've seen so often the alpha bro who turns into a bully, who turns into someone who physically harms other people, which is terrible. But the introverted, the insecure version of toxic masculinity, which is equally as harmful as physical abuse and physical harassment. I feel as though we don't ever really articulate it in a way that's as that shows the damage that it causes. You know, like physical abuse leaves behind scars. So does mental and emotional abuse and manipulation.
Right.
We're gonna show that by giving our main character a taste of his own medicine and really tearing down his ego, which is really difficult to do because, you know, with introverted narcissists, just like a sociopath, they are unable to see themselves as the bad guy or the one at fault.
Yeah.
They're always either the victim or they're always either the good guy. You know, they're never the bad guy. They're never the antagonist. It's in their own mindset. So what happens when you remove their thought, their possibility of thinking that maybe I'm the victim, no, this is all you.
Your fault.
You know what I mean? Like this is handing someone the most honest, brutal, and at times gorily graphic version of this is what you're doing to other people.
Yeah.
You know, like so that's I'm sorry, I don't know where I started nor how we got here, but that's it.
Okay. Well, you know, my follow-up question now is, you know, it's such an interesting, you know, topic. You know, I don't think most villains, you know, unless even Darth Vader never saw himself as a villain. He saw himself as somebody that was bringing order and balance to the universe, and it took you know, Luke and the rest of you know, the rebellion to bring him down and you know, finally humble him and present a you know, an alternate solution.
Yeah, I love that example so much because, you know, on a truly just boil it down to the basics of writing narrative.
Yeah,
and an antagonist in their own experience are their own protagonists and their point of view. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like I love that you brought up Vader. Vader's a phenomenal antagonist, you know, because of the motivations behind what they're doing. They're rooted in what they believe is right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's a massive part of society. That's why we vote who we vote for. It's why we buy what we buy. It's why we live where we live. It's why we talk to who we talk to. It's because you are being rewarded with dopamine and serotonin in the version of you're right, you're right.
Good. Yep.
Yeah. So exactly, but it's another form of manipulation. I'm not going to jump on the soapbox of polarity, but it's another form of addiction to the point where you create this false reality where everyone is against you who's not agreeing with you, and that's not true. Some of us are just different, not wrong, just different.
Just different.
So what happens when, like, for example, everyone in the world, well, except for me and a few other filmmakers that I've argued with till I'm blue in the face, for me, the antagonist in Jaws is the mayor. I've never seen this Bruce Jaws, the shark, as the antagonist of Jaws. The mayor is the one. The mayor is the one who refuses to listen to reason, refuses to shut down the beach, the community that he's supposed to protect, and because of that, the events happen, which are the shark. But for me, the shark is a shark. You know, one of the greatest films in the world.
Yeah, you know, Jaws is essentially, you know, man versus nature, and unfortunately, I think you're right. The mayor got in the way, and he's obstructing stuff, and thereby, by extension, making it worse.
Yeah, enabling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and
that was his false reality.
Yeah,
as far as, you know, like what it's tourism, it's the only money that we're gonna make. There's no way we can shut down. You know, it's short-sightedness. It's another form of narcissism.
Yeah. Right. You know, and then the sequels. I think that's when the shark becomes the antagonist, because they keep, you know, forcing this narrative of, oh, one of the shark's out for revenge, especially with number 4. You know,
let's not talk about the sequels. I love. You know what? The second one's not. The second one's not that bad. I said let's not talk about the sequels, but I was just kidding. The second one's not that bad. The second one is it's not Jaws, you know.
Yeah.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better family drama from Spielberg than what happens in Jaws. You know, Spielberg at the time was really, in my mind, was really going through and like dealing with his own issues with his own father, and then look at Jaws. You know what I mean? Like, look at what's going. Like, it's very clear for me that he was exercising those demons. Whereas for me, with the first film, Deceit, it's the hatred and the obviously I struggle with the same thought patterns, and how do I what a better way to exercise it than bringing it to life with amazing cast, amazing crew, and then showing the rest of the world. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's just film one.
Yeah, that's just film one. That's pretty awesome. Assia, listening to Noah, talk about how he approaches, his characters and the situations and stuff, and, the antagonists and the protagonists. Is that something you really want to investigate a lot as an actress?
I mean, yes and no. So usually, I mean, for me, I can't speak for other actors. I approach characters without judgment. If I'm reading a character and I immediately am like, ugh, this person's annoying or this person is bad, I know I have a lot of work to do because I can't become that person if I am judging them. And so you have to read it with a open mind and an open heart. And the thing is, though, I will say this is Noah as a writer, he is also, I think he approaches his characters the same way. He loves all of them equally, even the ones that he hates, he loves them. So when he's writing them, he's giving them the same amount of care, and like the things that they say and the way that they move and everything that they do, it's like, wow, okay, he cares about these people as well. So even as an actor coming up on a script written by Noah, it's like, if I find myself judging, I have to do the work, but also it's easier because it's written in such a way that you feel like, okay, I can connect with this person. I can understand why they're doing what they're doing. So yeah, I think the biggest thing to answer your question is just like being able to approach a character without judgment. So whether they're supposed to be the protagonist, the antagonist, it doesn't matter. I have to love them the same. I have to want to be them the same for that moment. So yeah.
Nice.
Also, I never expect for my cast, especially when we're in prep and rehearsal and building these characters, I never expect for them to justify their characters. However, I do expect for them to take 100% of the ownership in the choice, which is a little bit of a difference. I think it's really, really difficult, especially if on the character, to justify action and justify things they're saying. But when you can instead apply a empathetic level of development, that's taking the storytelling to a place that I expect for my cast and crew, instead of it's an acting gig, or it's I'm going to say these lines, I'm going to do these things that are written in the script, and I talk a lot about what I put my cast through before we get on set. But the reason I do that is because when we get on set, we're not stabbing in the dark at like, well, what's my motivation with it? No. We've done all that work. Our work now is fine tuning and getting. And a lot of times, in my experience, especially working with, character actors, which I love and prefer, it's the nuances that we partner on like what piece of their background results in their eye ticking whenever they lie, or what happens when why do they breathe through their nose when they're exhausted, or whatever the case is.
Yeah. So, and like just to piggyback off of what Noah said about, not expecting his actors to justify, I think sometimes we have to walk that fine line of how do you treat yourself as a person? Like, when you are living your day-to-day life, we're not all sitting around doing things and then thinking in our minds, I have to justify my actions. Like, that's not how people live, right? So when you approach a character, it's not about justifying their actions at all. It's about understanding, making it believable. And it's all it's make believe, right? So you have to get yourself to a place. I think for a lot of Noah's characters, you have to, as an actor, get yourself to a specific place to be like, okay, like I'm a logic person. I'm a big, if it logically makes sense, it's easy for me. So, but all actors, I think, can approach their characters differently. But I just wanted to chime in on the justification thing that Noah said.
So with Lethal Ladies, you've got a big Indiegogo, crowdfunding campaign going on. For everybody that's watching out there, we've got the link scrolling, down below. Make sure to get a screenshot of that. It's also in the comment section, so you can copy and paste that. But obviously, go and support independent art. Can you guys talk a little bit about the campaign and what people that want to support you and your endeavors, what they can expect?
Yeah, I mean, my last name is Waters, not Spielberg. So the studio system is yet to write me a blank check to go make my film. So I need help, in order to do so. But I also want to be pragmatic and logical about that. So what our plan is right now is to get our audience invested in a small ensemble of this huge ensemble of characters. And the way we're going to do that is with a 2 feature film slate. They were going to bite off in digestible pieces to present to our audience, like, hey, this is the world, this is its home. What do you think? So our next steps are both the first 2 feature films are relatively ready to go. What we have locked are the opening sequences of both films. And we are going to shoot the opening sequences of both films similar to the way that you would shoot a short film. But so we're going to stack shoot both of those. And then once we have those in the can with the deals and the relationships that I have thus far, we'll have a high enough cinematic quality piece of like that proof of concept that I talked about earlier. However, what we're shooting is not a proof of concept because we're not going to throw it away and then go try and raise the money to reshoot everything. What we're going to do is, with my line producing skills, produce theatrical DCP quality opening sequences and then go finish the 2 features and with a deal that I have down in Mississippi. But in order to get there, we have to get the first 2 opening sequences done. So that's what we're raising money for now. The first slate of films called Chapter Zulu. It's a 2 film slate. And then I call it Chapter Zulu because it's the ending of the first character arc of stories that we're going to go through. And so after the first 2 films, we're going to kind of start over and rebuild back up to that moment. I think it's so funny that you brought up Tarantino earlier, because I got a pass letter earlier today from a different film that I was working on with a minor studio. And the last thing that the CE said was that you're not Tarantino. I was like, okay, cool. I know I'm not Tarantino. I'm Noah. Yeah. Let me go. Let me go do that. But yeah. So in a very Tarantino style of storytelling, we're gonna show the ending and then rebuild back up to it. But in a really fun way. And I'm really excited about the first 2 films. I'm excited about the opening sequences, which we're shooting in LA. And that's what the crowdfunding campaign is now. Did I miss anything, Assia?
No. Nope.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun perks, as there always are. There's opportunities to get killed if you want to get killed. Ooh. There's there's opportunities there's opportunities to help support. One thing I love to do is to help the next generation of filmmakers on their way up, because I had a really, really tough start. Yeah. And so I always open up mentorship opportunities on my set, and we're doing that again with this one. But this time we are actually working with a really good friend of mine, Yvette Vargas, who runs the Writers Room 50/50 organization. My organization, Film with Filmmakers, is partnering with her to open up positions on set that you can donate for and then sponsor one of our mentees on set for one day.
Cool. Yep.
Or if you have the bank, we have a couple of slots for her Writers Lab, which is a phenomenal Writers Lab. Go look it up, the Writers Room 50/50. You can sponsor one of those students for one lab. So that's a little bit more money, but the students are getting a high quality education in a very real world. That's a huge TV film producer and writer, and an amazing director. But the experience you're going to get from going through one of her labs are really going to put you on the docket for the TV world. So that's one of our perks as well. And I would highly encourage, if you can, to go for those, just because not only are you helping us raise the money for physical production, but you're really helping out someone who's on their way up. And I didn't have a lot of help when I got started, so it's a big deal to me to be able to help others on their journey.
That sounds awesome. It'd be a fantastic opportunity for like film students, to do. Even some type of paid or sponsored internship of sorts.
Absolutely.
That'd be a great way for film schools like CU Film, or there's the film school here in Aurora that it's like, what a great on-set real world learning experience. Looks like Angela just posted, it's like, hey, we're $15 away from our first 1,000, so God damn it, go and help us.
We can't. I mean, ultimately, we talk about the mentorship and the altruism and what I want to do with the films, and that's all great, but I can't do anything if I don't have money in the bank.
Right.
And where I excel greatly as a line producer and a creative producer, as a writer and a director, I can't raise money to save my life. Like, for some, it's just not within me to that skill set. So an honest to God plea, we need your help, and it's more than a fiscal thing. We do need your money to donate, but also you can help by sharing. Like, and it's not just a hit the button, share it that day, but like, give us a commitment. Reach out to us. You can reach out to us through the campaign. You can reach out to both me and Asia online. Yep. If you want to help, but you don't have thousands of dollars to put towards somebody's scholarship, reach out to us. We're taking on what we're calling assistant producer level credits. So you can become an assistant producer on the project, which is a really small donation to the campaign. And then you can come on board as our assistants with sharing and spreading the social media, because me and Asia sitting in front of our phones all day talking about it, it only goes so far. When you reach out to your community with something that you care about, that's going to do more for us than honestly a $500 donation. And I feel so weird, because just asking people for money is like, I feel like I'm being naughty or whatever. But we need your help, and we can't move forward until the money is in the bank, because I refuse to put myself and my cast and crew in a situation where we're going to be compromised for safety, security, and honestly sanity, because I work with a lot of really dark material, and I take the sanity of my cast and crew very, severely. And, I can't do that if I don't have the money to put the logistics in place. So the students and the mentees that are coming on set are coming on to a union set. They're coming on to a full-fledged production. It's not a short film that their cousin is making that they're gonna, go be a dead body on. I mean, that's great. Go do that. Come do that for us as well. But you're gonna get a union set experience by working with them.
Yes.
I play a great dead body.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only chance I probably would have as an acting career.
And Noah, the one thing that you didn't mention was, how you're trying to create this like theater troupe energy.
Yeah.
Like throughout throughout this franchise of films that we're going to be making over the next probably 40, 50 years. So it's like people who are interested and want to come on board, who knows? Someone could, can I curse on here? I'm sorry.
Fuck, my poor little shitty ears.
Yeah.
Talk about that, Noah.
I love creating a familial type of environment on set because I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't know. I've been in combat. I've been in many different situations, but I've never seen an environment where Murphy's Law is any more prevalent than on a film set. So things are going to go wrong constantly. But when you have a great group of people with a great mentality and a great work ethic, and everyone is there to help better together, it creates an environment where people are enjoying to learn and enjoying to work.
Yeah.
There, especially in the tier 0, tier 1 film space, there's a lot of gig work, and I understand it. You got to go make a living, and so that's what people are looking for. They're looking for gigs. But what I'm trying to create is a real entity, a real space for people to learn, to thrive, and to expand. So like if you're really good at X, Y, and Z, come help us do that. But then you also have the opportunity to I do kind of want to learn what it's like to work as an electrician. We'll put you in the electric department for however many days you want to. It's going to be a paid gig. We're not going to ask you to volunteer. We're not going to ask you to, probably take time off of your day job and come in and we're going to feed you. We're going to make sure that you're safe. We're going to get you paid for the day. And I also really, really enjoy watching people grow and thrive and better themselves. And so I normally do that by working with people that I've worked with before. So if you're trying to come up the ladder, present yourself as someone who I'm going to enjoy working with. That's how I'm going to select you to work with later. I hardly ever work with someone I haven't worked with before unless they have a really, really good voucher from 2 or 3 people that I know. And I continue to work with that rule because I churn out high quality cinematic material doing so. But Phasia, who's our DP for the second film, Scales, which we haven't even brought up yet, I don't know why. The second film, Scales, is a reverse whodunit that we're setting inside the framework of a suspense thriller. Okay. So the first one's more of a slasher. The second one is definitely a suspense thriller noir, but it's a reverse whodunit because we know who did it, and now she's trying to help, reverse all of that. But it's based in magic realism and sci-fi. Specifically, we are borrowing from Choctaw mythology, Elmec mythology, and Grecian mythology for that. But we're also making sure that we're doing the proper links of partnering with tribal leadership and people of those cultures to make sure that we have their blessing and that where we are taking creative license, we have permission to.
Yeah.
And Phasia, has worked with me 3 times now in the camera department on Relationship Killers. She was my second AC. We worked together on a pilot that I was producing, and then we were partnered together. I had selected her for my DP because, like I said, I always pick people. I selected for my DP on her previous project that I was slated to direct, and then it fell apart. But Phasia loved the prep process with me so much. It's like in that process, I found out that she is Choctaw.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so now I have a DP, I have a lead producer and an actor who are all Choctaw. And you know, like I said, the film itself is based in Choctaw mythology. So God works in mysterious ways, and I'm getting handed the keys, hopefully, to the kingdom. And Phasia is one of them. Phasia is a phenomenal camera department person, and she's DP'd herself a couple of times, but this will be her first feature. So
nice.
I'm really excited about it.
Oh, that sounds cool. So yeah, it sounds like you've got a nice, you know, familiar you know, group being assembled and everything. And like, you know, like any project that requires multiple disciplines, you know, to unite, it's an orchestra. You know, you're composing, and it takes all these different disciplines to work in tandem with each other. Otherwise, it's you know, the whole ship can go down. It's both you know, frightening but so exciting all at the same time. You know, I love this. We've got a few people that have been chiming in here. So probably some friends, Carissa, you know, preach.
Chris is one of our producers.
I think this is Angela. So, and she also mentioned that her daughters are attending Colorado Film School.
Oh wow!
Oh, nice, nice.
And then you know, Crystal's waving. So
that's our editor.
She's an amazing editor. Oh my God!
Nice.
So good. So good.
Yeah, it's always, you know, interesting, you know, talking about like the production process and everything, because really what you're doing is you're building the palette, and then, you know, you go into editing, and that's where all, you know, you start, you know, putting together the souffle.
Yeah. I was talking about this earlier with the director that I met with earlier, but you know, an assembly edit, which is the very first cut that you see. That's where it's normally like, you know, there's tons of mistakes and there's overlapping and things of that nature. I don't think that I've ever seen an assembly cut that hasn't made me physically sick to my stomach. As soon as I watch it, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just spent all this money. No one's ever gonna want to work with me again, and with this piece of crap. But Crystal and I have worked together now for almost 10 years, and she has learned my voice and what I want from takes and from shots and from scenes and from mistakes, to the point where it's pretty damn close. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple, we're just fine tuning things again. And I think the more you prep, the more you put into that understanding of what the director wants, you know, in advance, the better it is. Like, I love, my favorite thing about filmmaking is partnering with artisans and craftsmen and storytellers. Our special effects artist, our special effects supervisor, Venetia, is a phenomenal SFX artist. I'll see if we can get her Instagram put into the comments but she's working with us on incredibly interesting elements that we have going on with the film process. You know, lovely Asia here, her character has several different body modification elements that we're bringing to light. So we're giving Asia's character Bayonet a Joker smile, but one of the most graphically anatomically correct ones, and that it's lacerated all the way back from her mouth corners to the hinge of her jaw. So from one side to the other, you can actually see through her mouth, just like a gator, you know. Sorry, I'm from Florida. So we're working on that. The character of Wendy, which is the creature in the second film, you know, she's got these incredibly interesting tattoos all over her that my special effects tattoo artist and makeup artist, Melina, is working on, and all of that is based in Choctaw culture. And then Wendy, the character herself, is a really interesting creature that has a lot of interesting anatomical things that we have to deal with, but it's all grounded and rooted in character and realism. So like where we're going far-fetched is still rooted and very close to home to what the overall film is, which is noir.
Yeah, this sounds really exciting. You know, I can't wait to see it manifested. And you know, Assia, with what you know Noah's describing with, you know, your facial features, you know, being somewhat augmented. You know, it reminds me of I don't know if you're familiar with Takashi Miike's Ichi the Killer, but you know, the one of the I think the main not Ichi himself, but you know, the blonde-haired guy, he can unhinge or disconnect some hangers or something in his face, and then his mouth can open that much wider, you know. And yeah, it's a pretty fun movie. Definitely a family friendly. No, it's not family friendly at all.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. But I definitely recommend that. Noah, it sounds like you're familiar with Takashi Miike. But yeah, I think yeah, stuff like that is just yeah, what incredibly visually visceral, and sounds like something that would really stick with you. So haunting is another way to think about it.
I think it'll stick with the audience, but it won't take them out of the story.
Oh, good point. Good point.
Yeah. We don't want anyone to feel like, you know, what did we just see, or like be stuck on it to the point where it's like when you watch Batman. I think Noah just dropped, but
yeah, it looks like he just dropped out.
I know his laptop might have died, but when you watch Batman, and the first time you saw the Joker, you're like, oh shit. But then
right
as the movie goes on, it's not as much about what he looks like, it's about what he's doing. So yeah,
right.
Though my character will have interesting body modification, it'll make sense.
Right.
It'll fit.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah, can't wait to see that. But you know, there again, yeah, everybody out there watching at home, go to the Indiegogo page. You know, hit them up, support them. For independent, you know, filmmaking, independent art. You know, it's that tough thing where, you know, commerce and you know, and art, you know, have to transact and you know, to get anything really cool done. It's such a tough necessity these days. And yeah, I get it too with, you know, COVID and all the fun things going on in the world these days. They go a little tighter, but that's the thing. Art makes life worth living. That's how we can, you know, connect as people, is those stories that you know, we you know, convey and then translate you know, as the ages go by. So yeah, it's awesome. Guys, Noah, Assia, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. It's really fun, you know, for me and for everybody out there to learn about all the cool things that you guys as artists, as filmmakers, as actors are out there, you know, doing and you know, putting out there, putting your heart and souls, you know, into the stratosphere. Yeah, we greatly appreciate it. Is there any other places that you know, people can go out and follow you and reach out to you?
I'm on all of the socials at Noah A. Waters III. I'm on Clubhouse. I host a room called Fun with Filmmakers, which is a part of the mentorship and workshop things that I do. And I'm putting in the works a show similar to this, but specifically around noir. You know, I've been I love noir so much, and I've been doing a deep dive, obviously, with the as research. But I'd love to kind of pick apart the parts of noir that I love, and what I don't want to do, with my cinematic universe, and the things I do want to do. And I think it'd be a great way to also build audience, like connecting with everyone. So be on the lookout for that.
Nice.
And I have stand-up dates on my website if you want to come see me on stage.
Excellent. When's your next performance? What city?
I think Atlanta, but it's not until September, so it'll be a while.
Oh wow!
I'm really hard in prep right now. So if you're in and around LA, just go to a comedy club. I might walk on stage one night, but I don't have any dates.
Nice. Solid 30 minutes, or what's your stand-up like?
Well, the set I'm working right now is 45, but nice. I've got the new hour that I'm doing specifically around MIA. I only have like 15-20 minutes of, but I hardly ever get to do it because it's a really unique form of stand-up where I'm only performing with individuals who suffer from that specific mental illness that we're dealing with. So it's more of group therapy than anything else. But yeah, the stand-up is the same 45 I've been doing for like 5 years. Cool.
And then, Assia, where are you located at again?
I'm on Instagram at Assia, ASSIA. Actually, I guess my name is right there, at Assia Lauren. But our Lethal Ladies page is on Instagram. It's at Lethal Ladies CM, which stands for Cinematic Multiverse.
Nice.
Yeah. There, yep. Instagram. I'm on Facebook, but I'm not really. I'm just there, but I'm not like active on Facebook.
That's probably for the best. It tends to be a little toxic.
Thank you. It's a lot. It's stressful. Ugh.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, cool guys. Yeah, thanks for coming on and talking to us about Lethal Ladies, and we'll be looking out for more updates and stuff. For everybody out there, I contributed. You need to too. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
And participate in creating this. Your dollars and I mean, there's so many cool tiers and so many different ways to participate in creation of this cinematic universe. So I'd say be the next Tarantino, but really just be the next Noah Waters.
Yeah, thank you. Clearly, I'm not Tarantino, according to the creative executive over at. Well, for legal reasons, we won't name the studio.
Yeah, right on. No, that's cool. So with that, stick around, guys, for a few minutes while we sign off here. But I want to thank all our supporters and our sponsors, of course, Mutiny Information Cafe. If you're going to start a revolution, make sure you're caffeinated. And, of course, Hellfire Entertainment. Thanks for rebroadcasting us out on your social media. And our friends at Groovy TV. And, of course, to Alien Donut Films. Thanks for sponsoring us, Bill and Angela. And, of course, to everybody out there, be good, be kind, help each other out during these tough times. And stay spooky until, tomorrow is the next show. So we'll be back here at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and it'll be rocking. Have a good night, good afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're in.